Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Booze and Dudes podcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the Prestige Film Festival. Hey, you guys interested in like real film festivals that have like real venues and
I'm really interested in those.
Agree. So
and real popcorn,
real
peanuts,
real popcorn,
not just some digital promise that people are making.
Not a digital certificate, real trophies,
wow,
and real billboards and real things.
A real festival.
It's a real festival. Guys, it's happening August 6th. We're going to do the opening night gala at the Haven in Banning, California. And then August 7th, we are doing the film festival live from the Fox Cineplex in Banning, California. We might have a couple of celebs that might be showing up. Who knows?
We're aiming for it.
But we are aiming for it. And then, of course, guys, that's all happening. Tickets on sale at the prestigefilmfestival.com. Here we go. Let's start the show.
The dream was broken, seen that all was lost. Would you be the future? Could you pay the cost? Will there ever be a second time around?
Whoa, when it's over and the moment has come, say my Lord, I think I found someone, and no one would be better to put it together for the second time around. Who's the lady?
Him and Pacquiao got the same Superman punch.
Step by step, day by day, a fresh start over a different
And got us a top.
That guy's a fucking mute. Hey, they can say we got fucking mutes on our show. Oh yeah, good call. Oh my god, we're really nice people, you know that? We have mutes on our show. We have ethnic people on our show.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is the Booze and the Dudes podcast. We are live from the Big Buck Studios here in beautiful Highland, California. And today, this is we have in the background Mr. Dick Sassy, DK Murphy, and of course Chuck Bucks. But today we have a real awesome interview from the Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. And of course, you know him from the owner and creator of Gas Digital Media, and a whole bunch of stuff. Legion of Skanks. No, he's not on the Legion of Skanks, but it is part of the Gas Digital Media. But
fuck me.
Fuck you, all right?
You fucked up the intro right now.
You fucked up the intro,
God
man.
Damn it, I would probably do another one if we had the money for it. But
if we had the money for the film, we'd do another intro. But ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Ralph Sutton. All right. Today's guest is Mr. Ralph Sutton himself, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for him.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, man, thanks for doing this. I mean, I think you're probably the most popular guest we've got, at least ever. Probably ever.
I don't know if it's a compliment to me or a dig to your show, but I'll take that either way.
I was thinking the same thing when I said that. I was like, man, I'm not too sure. Should I mention that?
Yeah,
maybe I should say that we had like Morgan Freeman.
I'm not proud. I don't give a fuck. Ralph Sutton, you're an awesome guy.
Thank you. I remember on my old radio show, like 15 years ago, we got Jimmy Kimmel through a fluke. And it was when his show was huge. I mean, it's still not that it's big now, but this is back when there was only a few late night guys. And that was my opening line. This is the biggest guest we've ever had. I don't know if it's an insult to us or a compliment to him, but either way, welcome to the show. And he said the same thing. It's probably more of an insult to us than anything else.
That's it. So obviously you've done podcasting. You are the founder of Gas Digital Media. Where did you kind of start from? Is this something that you just kind of started with your buddies, or did you start from, like, I know you used to DJ. Is that kind of where it started from?
So it started, to be honest with you, I always had a love for entertainment in any sort, right? So I was a nightclub promoter, a rock club promoter, and always loved the idea of being on the microphone and controlling the room and shit like that. But I did college radio for like a half a season or like a semester until I realized you're not allowed to pick the music you want to play. And so I stopped. I just didn't want to do it and kind of forgot about radio for years. But then I became a strip club DJ. And at one point, which I was there, did that for 15 years, by the way, but that's a whole other story. But one point, some guy came in. He was another strip club DJ that was doing the day shift. And I just recognized he kind of knew what he was doing. So we just started talking. He was a radio guy that was making extra money on the weekends doing strip club DJing. So I said, I'll teach you this side of the business. Just get me an audition at the radio station. And he got me an audition, and that's how I got started in this bit in radio. I'm going to condense it super quickly. That overnight shift that I did for a little while, a few months later, ended up getting syndicated. A few months later, a couple of years later, I was on about 100 rock stations around the country doing rock radio, interviewing every idol that I ever had growing up. That led to me being a VJ on VH1 Classic and doing those stupid talking head like top 40 worst whatevers of all time kind of shit.
Best week ever.
Yeah, those kind of stupid things. Before Best Week Ever, though. And then hosting the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, the Motorhead Cruise, the Shiprock Cruise, all that kind of shit. And then that led to me realizing radio was dying about 6 years ago. And so I started a podcast because I knew radio wasn't going to be making me any money for much longer. The money kept dropping and dropping. So 6 years ago, Big J Okerson, who's a comic, and I started a podcast together with the really no plan, and we didn't even know how to put it out. I didn't even know what a fucking RSS feed was or how to release a podcast. But I had my radio show, so bands would come in and do the show, and I'd say, "Hey, hang out for a half hour afterwards. We'll do a podcast together." And even back then, they're like, "Well, what the fuck is a podcast?" Like nobody knew. It was like 6-7 years ago. My philosophy always was, podcasting is for people that can't do radio, and I'm doing radio. So why the fuck am I doing a podcast? But eventually I just realized, oh shit, this is the future, and transitioned into podcasting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You mentioned that you did DJ for Scores, and I do remember, I've listened to a couple of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll podcasts that you do, the SDR podcast. And I know you mentioned, because like I said, you were a huge Howard Stern fan too, and Howard Stern would hang out a lot at Scores too, right? Did you ever meet Howard Stern?
So the funny thing is, the catalyst that made me realize, God damn it, I really want to get into radio, was when he was going to Scores. I was at Scores. I was already out of Scores. I was at another club. But one day on Howard, and this is when Howard was fucking Howard Stern, like before satellite radio. This is when he was on K-Rock and syndicated. Yeah. He had some chick on that was talking about how to have sex with strippers. And I felt everything she was saying was bullshit, and it was not right. So I just took a shot and called in K-Rock radio in the heyday of Howard Stern. I don't know how I got through. I don't know how they put me on the air immediately. I just said, when it was Stuttering John answered the phone. It's funny because I did Stuttering John's podcast not that long ago. And I said, I remembered so clearly, oh shit, I'm talking to Stuttering John, right? Because he answered the phone. And I just said, hey, I worked at Scores for 2 years. Everything this girl's saying is bullshit. And then they put me on the air with Howard. And I still have that call taped. Awesome. I have it recorded on my hard drive. And it was only like 2 minutes long, but he never, I mean, if you're fans of Howard, the things that were amazing, he never shit on me. We had a nice conversation. I said, all right, have a good one. And I ended it. He didn't shit on me afterwards. They just said, oh, that was great. And that was it. And I was like, fuck, I want to do this. Like, this is something I want to do. And then the course of that next week, maybe 20 people that I knew called me or came up to me and said, oh, fuck, I heard you on Howard Stern. And I was like, I don't know why I've been not trying to make this happen. And literally like 6 months later, that dude came in to the strip club.
Oh, speaking about your DJing, just something, little fun fact for these guys, just to get them talking, because I know some of them are conspiracy theorists and all that stuff. But I heard you DJ'd for the 9/11 terrorists, man.
Yes, I did. I did for the ones that went to the Pentagon.
He wasn't raise the roof. He was like, let's fucking put some planes in these buildings tonight.
Yeah. I would say that maybe if I was a better DJ, we would still have our buildings. But
he's just like, slow it down.
We knew we found out a couple days later because the FBI came into the strip club and they had the credit cards and they had everything. And the really fucked up part of it is one of them, when a girl asked what he do for a living, he said he was an airline pilot. Crazy. And then what's even more crazy is when he was leaving, he told her, which just seemed like batshit crazy nonsense at the time. He said, hey, by the way, stay out of New York next week. He's like, what? You know, and no at the time, she's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
For him to be like, hey,
she gave him a good dance and she made sure good songs were played.
Holy shit.
I think it's sweet that you think
Fuck,
you just did a dance. That's very sweet of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got my dick up. I'm gonna let
Stay
you
out of New York.
It is now 71
Yeah,
virgins.
here's $100 for the lap dance. Make sure you stay out of fucking New York.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And then I say this how the world of the strip club was such like a unique subset of humanity because 9/11 the Saturday they were there on the Saturday. Tuesday was 9/11. The club was closed Wednesday because God forbid, they opened up Thursday though, right? So they closed for one day. And I had a DJ that night and
Moment of silence.
moment of silence for one night. All the clothes were on for one night. And then the next night we're there and a girl comes to the DJ booth and says, "Why is it so fucking slow tonight? What the fuck's going on?" And I said, "Are you fucking serious?"
Oh, that's
She had no idea. She goes, "You think that's why?" I'm like, "Yeah, I fucking think that's why."
I look outside. I just imagine that, like, before they open, the manager just goes up to all the strippers and him and go, "We're going to go out today because if we don't, the terrorists win."
Yeah, exactly. These tits are free.
These colors don't run.
Every stripper just giving a lap dance to the national anthem.
Points to her black eye. This black and blue don't run.
just like the tower, 2 for 1.
Damn right. Did you ever obviously, when you DJ at a strip club, there's a lot of drama, I would say, from what I hear. So what's the craziest shit that happened at Scores?
So, I mean, this wasn't at Scores, but I did this I did it for a very long time. I worked at Pure Platinum, Scores, Solid Gold, and a place called Lace, and probably 2 or 3 others over the years. Mm-hmm. And I always say the worst brag I could say in my life is there was a time when the company that owned Pure Platinum, they were the biggest chain of strip clubs in the country. And they would fly me to other states to train strip club DJs to make sure they were good, which is like the worst fucking brag in the world. It's just
awesome.
Yeah, but it's just like to young guys, it's awesome. To anybody else, it's like what kind of fucking stupid job is that?
She's like, "Ralphie, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And he's like, "I want to train other DJs."
That's like
how to push buttons and say stupid shit on
arms training.
But I actually wrote a book about my life in strip clubs, and we got a deal. And it got fucked up because my publisher at the time, my agent rather, was trying to get more money. And then, you guys are probably too young to remember when the Janet Jackson boob came out.
No, we remember.
Right?
Yeah,
YouTube, bro.
So when that happened, there was a big right-wing swing to conservatism because, oh my God, there's a tit on national television.
Black titty too.
Yeah, and then exactly, and then they canceled my book deal, so it never happened. Right? If we would have taken the first deal, I would have gotten it. But anyway. The reason why I say that little side story is the catalyst for writing my book. The way it works, I'm sure you guys have been strip club patrons a couple times in your life, but when
never
the DJ shows up, you go into the dressing room and you find out which girls are here tonight. Make a list of the girls, right? And there's a girl in the dressing room that's usually a former stripper that got too old, and now she's what they call the house mother. She's there to make sure nobody steals shit.
Thelma or Lucy or
So I walk in and the house mom is holding 2 girls apart, right? A Spanish girl and a Russian girl. The Russian girl had been working there for a while. Spanish girl, I never met her before. And I could just kind of walk in on this at 7:00 on a Thursday, and the Russian girl's accusing the Spanish girl of stealing $300. And they check her bag, they check her G-string, they check her it's nowhere. And she's like, "I know she stole it." And then the house mom says to the Spanish girl, "I think I know where you have it." And the Spanish girl pulls down her G-string, raises her hand and says, "Fucking check me." The house mom puts her hand up the girl's vagina and pulls out $300.
Damn.
And that's just a regular day over there.
That was a regular Thursday.
That's an OBGYN's job right there.
Yeah. And then my favorite part of that story was the Russian girl just picked up the money and put it in her purse to even wash it off.
Oh,
wow.
Thank you very much.
Where I come from, money like this is hard to come by.
This is mine.
I killed for much less.
Dude, you could buy a house in Russia for that much money.
Yeah, for sure. Especially back then.
I used to do voiceover for Sasha.
I also love that the Spanish girl thought the there's no way this old woman's gonna shove her fucking hand up my twat.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no way possible.
What's funny is there's probably no hesitation or no restrictions. Just
Nothing,
right in.
nothing. And also, I'm just a dude standing there watching everything. I'm the only guy back there. They don't fucking care.
As soon as they're all done, you're like, "What's your name? What's the song again? What are you guys going on to?"
Yeah.
They threw the Spanish girl out in the street right after that.
Oh, man.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we
With
can't
the
do
song
that.
"Here I Go Again" on my own in the background, stripping to it.
Oh, damn, dude. I've had my fair share of like stories. I mean, these guys remember when I drove a remote control car with the dildo attached to it right into one of those porn stars' vagina. And it's like once a week they would have this porn star, at the Spearmint Rhino, and it had like it had a dildo attached to it.
Gentlemen's
She's
club.
like,
Only gentlemen.
Oh, gentlemen's club. Yes. She said, "Hey, who wants to drive the car?" And I'm like, me, pick me. So I get up there and I fucking put this thing as fierce
Into
as it
all-wheel
can.
drive.
All-wheel drive. She's like, she's like, ah! It was great.
You had a remote control? Is that what it was?
I had the remote control.
It was an RC car, but it was destroyed, and they put the dildo instead of the frame of it. This is my first time ever.
This is the first time it's
But
club.
it was a Paul Walker dildo. It wasn't like a Kobe Bryant one. So it wasn't like much
fair enough.
action.
But yeah, so it went in and like no hesitation, and then he goes back and
Yeah, I even took that to
that's great.
reverse.
and
One time,
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
What tripped me out about it the most is like her manager was also her boyfriend, and he's charging like $5 per kiss and $10 take it. And when we were talking to him, like, "Oh, hey, dude, what's going on? You're the security guard. What's it take?" He's like, "Oh, it's my lady." And we're like, "Oh, like girlfriend?" He's like, "No, it's my wife."
It's very,
Like,
very common. Yeah, it's very common.
Yeah.
the whole cuck thing.
It's
those guys
also
are
funny,
the
like
real
so
fucking
often
winners.
bouncers are dating dancers.
Which,
And
hey,
then-
I'm fine with that. That makes sense.
Right. But what happens that's weird though is that a customer would get out of hand with a dancer, which happens all the time. But if it happens in front of the one who happens to be dating that girl, he's gonna punch you in the mouth, which normally he would just say, "All right, stop, dude." But when it's his girlfriend, he'd punch the dude in the mouth, which is just how it
But I
always
love how you
goes
said
down.
it too about how they threw that chick out. Like in California, they don't do shit like that. Everything's all
All right, that's fine.
like you're New York, man. Like you guys are just like, nah, fuck this, fuck you. I'm gonna let you know.
Go buy yourself a falafel, bitch. Fuck off and close the doors.
And what you were talking about with the girl with the remote
Husband.
control, that's a featured dancer. So they bring in featured dancers, porn stars usually, to get more people through the door. And usually they do some sort of stupid stunt
Oh, yeah.
to be like, that's what they're known for. So one of the last times I was working,
Yeah, every day. That's their
So
job.
she was known for the race car shit.
And that's the ping pong show.
yeah, exactly, and that's what it was. So this girl would take her posters and roll them up like big dicks and put it between her legs and make guys blow the poster
That's
to
what
get
Joe
the
does
poster.
over at the dispensary.
Dispensary.
10% off.
And the guy's doing it on the stage, and I'm on the mic, and he's like reluctant to do it because his friends are there, but he wants the poster. And I just said, "Come on, dude, just like your dad used to make you do." And he got so upset. I was like, "Oh my god, maybe his dad really made him do this. What the fuck do I know?"
Dude, seriously, there was a DJ one time at the Rhino. He's like, "If you don't got $100 in your pocket, get the fuck out."
Yeah, I used to do
Everyone
shit like
gets
that.
up
I
and
mean, I
leaves.
would make the girls a lot more money. I would make the girls like 30% more when I was there, embarrassing guys to spend money. That's what I would
Oh,
do.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
fuck it, right?
Yeah. Like I said, this is
That's
one
the
of my
job.
first experiences going there, and like it was the best. There was a girl, one of the bartenders.
Your
was
first
quitting.
experience was your best, of course.
Well, yeah, I've only gone
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 times. But no, they stripped this fucking bartender down because bartenders, they want them to fucking be strippers too, and she was beautiful, huge tits and everything. They stripped her down, hosed her down with water and shit, and I'm over there just loving life. I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool. And also, like you said, my boy over here, Bucks, was doing the RC thing, so I'm over here tripping out, like, fuck, dude, this is normal. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't never.
I
have a
got you
problem getting
way
girls,
wrong
so,
already.
I mean,
And
to
now,
me,
long story short, the only way you can come is with an RC vehicle and a dildo.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like I said,
Basically
I
it.
can tell you, Ralph, I had to make shit interesting because when I went there, I would cheer on the strippers. Like everyone would be kind of like in their sweatpants,
I would cheer on
kicking
the
back.
donkey.
I'd say, come on. There was this one old stripper. She had to be in her 50s. And we called her Passion. And this guy knows, and these guys
he was
know.
with her, yeah.
She was an old school player. She'd been there way too long, past her prime.
Hold on. She at least had like the cougar look going on.
Dude, no, a Krueger look, man. She was fucking old. Freddy Krueger, dude.
She looked like she got mauled by a Krueger.
So we would always fucking like make her feel good and clap for her during the stay because it made her feel good, you know, because like there's so many fucking creeps there. So I mean, we definitely do that, but I know SGS
as one 50-year-old to another to that woman, I can relate. You know, anything you can do to make me feel better about myself.
All day, right?
Yeah. Well, us guys, we grace, we age gracefully. The women, not so much.
In theory, I feel that's true.
I mean, like I said, I got a few things for you.
Yeah, what do you got?
I know a lot of the people here, they all have split parents, and I was tripping on that about you, that you had not only did your parents split up, but you also had that dual life, you know, that duality of like with your dad, you were completely wealthy and you guys could do shit. And then with your mom, you had to be basically like a New York kid where it's all.
Yeah, it was pretty wild too. So my parents got divorced when I was, split up when I was 4, right? So awesome. I didn't have much memories of them together, right? And then my father went on to become extremely wealthy, and I would be living with my mom in Brooklyn, went to public school and blah, 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 all the standard shit. But on Fridays, I would go to my dad's. He had homes in New York, in the Hamptons, in Florida. He had beautiful cars, and it was a 180 of what it was like normally. And it was a wild, it's a good SAT word, dichotomy to have that big difference. And it actually made me not like money because I didn't like how people treated 7-year-old me when I was with my dad. It was like, oh, Monsieur Sutton, like
Monsieur Sutton, so good to see you.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'd be at a fucking diner with my mom, and it's like, go shit in the fucking back and eat, you know, whatever it was. So I just like never wanted to really, I didn't like anyone to know that my dad had money. Not that I had the money, but my dad had money. Yeah. Like when he bought me a car for my birthday I was still in high school. I didn't really want to bring it to the high school. I didn't want people to know how to brand new fucking car. Yeah. Right. This was, it was an interesting way to grow up. I think it made you appreciate making your own money a little bit more.
Well, on top of that, to me, I think it also brings up like how, I mean, I heard a lot of your stuff, you know, like when the Are You Garbage podcast you were on, and they pretty much had
Jesse knows all your shit. He's going to pretend like he only knows a few things, but he knows.
That's fine. Good. He's doing research.
Some guy. Just some guy. Don't worry about it.
I'm a big advocate of do research. It makes people feel good. Do research.
Oh, yeah. We did some research, but this guy, he knows your life. I'm telling you.
He knows your dick size.
Yes.
I'm sorry for all the ladies that know that as well. It's not
hey, as long as you got a call back, dude, don't even trip.
I'm amazed you're asking him questions. I feel like you already know the answer, but go ahead.
No. These are questions that I want to know the answer.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Hey, calm down, all right? Stop fucking hating.
All right, sorry.
To me, it adds that whole thing of like I mean, like you're part of the Legion of Skanks. Like those are part of your crew and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you and Gomez and all them, well, Louis J. But I mean, all that whole thing, like you're able, because of that dual life, like you're able to like not be bothered or it doesn't come up where you're just like, oh yeah, dude, you guys grew up poor. Like I can understand that. And I have that on the same time because my parents both had their own kids, their own family before me. I'm that kid that, you know, unites them. And with my brother, complete gangster, fucking motorcycle gangs. He's done all that shit. He's been in and out of prison his whole life. I have that lifestyle. And to me, it's just normal. And then with my other brother,
coolest son in the family,
completely different. Like fucking dots his I's, you know, crosses his T's. He's super polite. He's one of the nicest guys you ever meet. And I have that two sides to me. And like, whenever I'm hanging around with gangsters and everything, I'm never like, oh shit, this is fucking weird. I'm just like, hey, what's up, dude? Like, it's not a big deal.
I think it's a great way to grow up because you get to relate to far more people because of how you grew up. And it's funny, is also, which is a crazy part of my life, when I was in high school, 14, I got obsessed with breakdancing, right?
That's what I was going to mention.
Yeah. So I was in a break.
6'5"?
I was 5'6" at the time, you know, 6'5" now.
If you're that big the whole time,
when I was in 9th grade, I was only 5'6". But
I did breakdancing in 7th grade. I was decent.
I got into I was in a breakdancing movie, and I used to battle all the time and that shit. And then
were you breaking?
No, he was.
So I have a on the woman who sang the theme song for Breaking 2, which was called I Believe in the Beat. I was a woman named Carolyn Towns. On her album, it says, thanks to Ralph and Joe Sutton, that's my brother, for my breakdance lessons. But I was actually in the movie Crush Groove, which was one of the other big ones, right? Gee. But then the second part of my high school, I got obsessed with computers and like illegal hacking and shit like that. And I was wanted by the FBI for computer hacking, right? So I was friends with the hoodlums for the first year and a half, and friends with the like dorks and geeks for the next year and a half. And then in my senior year, I started becoming a little more like mainstream sociable. And the funny thing was, like, all the kids they were terrified of, I was friends with, and all the kids they would make fun of, I was friends with. So I was kind of like the peacekeeper of high school that last year I was in high school, which was kind of funny.
Like Encino Man.
Yeah, exactly like Encino Man. I'm just hairy like enough Encino as well. Just like it. It was based on my life, that movie.
They owe you money, dude. Fucking Brendan Fraser, brother, dude.
So how'd you start Gas Digital? I mean, that's if you guys don't know, that's basically there's a lot of mini podcasts that are very popular that are on this network. And Mr. Ralph here created that network. So how did you get into
with
like
Louis J. Gomez? Yeah, both and I. So what happened was SDR started doing decently, not great, but decent. We're going back like 6 years. And Jay had this other podcast, which he had started a couple of years prior, called Legion of Skanks. And through that, I met Louis and Dave, right? And we would all, there we go, Skank Hands. We all were sharing, mainly Louis and I, were sharing ideas on how to promote shows, how to get your podcast bigger, what could you do to get more listeners. And we would talk regularly about what, especially 6 years ago, it was still pretty new. Not that new, but still pretty new. And him and I had equal drive into always doing like, what can we fucking do to get our podcast to the next level? Mm-hmm. And literally, I would say about the same time, my thought process, well, I have a radio show that's on at the time, like 50 stations. At the height, it was like at 100, but at this point, it's like 50. And it's 50 small stations, but you combine them all and you can make money because you take 50 small stations. If we got a few more small podcasts like mine, then we could start selling it as an ad space and kind of do what I did in radio for podcasting. And Louis already wanted to do like a podcast club kind of thing. And so we just kind of talked and we got together and we came up with the idea of doing a network together, knocking around ideas. I had the dumbest name, but it led to this name. I said, let's call it Lars, like Metallica's drummer, and it could stand for Louis and Ralph's Studio, which is just stupid. And he goes, well, I like the idea, but what about Gas?
Gets off Lars.
Yeah, he goes, what about Gas, Gomez and Sutton instead of Lars? I'm like, well, yeah, that's a lot better. So we'll do that because that allows for like high octane entertainment, fuel up with gas, all that kind of stupid shit. So that's where we did it. And the logo I got made on fucking Fiverr for $10 because I had an idea, but I can't draw. So I said, do this kind of like stick man guy, and it cost me $10, and that's our logo.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So what kind of shows on that network, and how did you approach these shows? Were they already established?
Well, the first 4 shows was mine, Lewis's, Dave's, and then a show called High Society Radio. Legion was on another network. So it was just 4 shows. And the 3 that they were obvious was mine, Dave's, and Lewis's, because we all knew each other. Just, let's do that. And we brought in a show called High Society Radio. Those were the first 4. And then I had already had this. I'm in my second bedroom, which used to be set up as the studio. Excuse me. And everybody could just come here and use the studio because I had it set up for radio. Anyway, that's why it was here, So we were able to offer the 4 shows, including mine, hey, you got a studio to use. And at the time, again, it was harder to do that. Not as easy as it is now. Yeah. And the first show we brought on was a comic who now is huge, Tim Dillon, who has he's Tim. Gotten really big. That's and I did a podcast with him.
I've heard of him.
Both guests. Sorry?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, sorry.
He said he heard of him.
Yeah, he's huge now, right? He's huge.
Yeah, he's huge.
So I did a podcast with him, and we loved each other. We just got along great. We did an old school podcast called Keith and the Girl, and we got along great. I was like, dude, you should come check out my studios. And I brought him back here. And while we're walking here, I text Louis and I said, I think I have a guy that would be great for the next show on our network. And he says to me, that's funny, I think I have a guy as well. And we were talking about the same guy. Nice. We were both talking about Tim Dillon. So that's how he came on. And then we did it in my apartment for about a year. And what's funny is in the beginning with 5 shows, 4 of them taped on one day, 1 of them taped on the other. It wasn't that bad. So it was like 1 day a week. I was annoyed in my apartment
because you want everybody fucking at your house. Like, yeah,
it was crazy. And then go a couple of months later, there was 11 shows. never was there a day when nobody was in my fucking house and I was gonna lose my mind. And I was on a date, and everyone was supposed to be out of my house by 9. I came home with this girl, a first date, to a room full of 9 guys in my apartment. She thought she was getting gangrene.
Jerking off on roulette.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, for sure. And boy, was she right, because she got gangrene. No, she
You're all
No,
done. I'll get you
I
first.
got really pissed. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? Like, oh, we decided to record an extra episode. It's like, you didn't fucking tell me.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and that was the day I decided we got to get these guys out of the fucking house. And I found the studio where we are now. And now we're up to about 22 shows. And
Nice.
there's like a figuring out of what fits and what doesn't. But the big shows, Legion is the biggest show. Legion's Gangs is the biggest. Michael Bisping, the UFC middleweight champ, his show is really big. My SDRs is up there, but then also like we have Tommy Dreamer from the wrestler. We have a couple of rock and roll guys, like if you know heavy metal, the singer of Hatebreed, the singer of Machine Head, and just some great comedians. Great, it's a beautiful lineup. The way I describe the network, the easiest is that it's offshoots of mainstream entertainment. And what I mean by that is we have sports shows. It's not football or basketball or baseball. It's MMA and it's wrestling. We have a music show. It's not rap or EDM or pop. It's heavy metal. We have a politics show. It's not Democratic or Republican. It's libertarian. So it's like mainstream entertainment, but they're offshoots. And that's what the show. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I describe it. And it is, one of the last bastions of we will never fire anybody for something they said on the podcast. It's just never going to happen.
Last company to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had our fair share of people that get butthurt on this fucking show.
Oh, man. It's the world we live in. I get emails.
Yeah, we
I get emails saying you should get rid of Ralph Sutton because his podcast is offensive. I'm like, I'm going to get right on that. I'm going to fire myself.
Hold your breath.
I'll tell Ralph what a dick he's been.
Seriously. Hi, so
Don't worry, he already knows.
You've done your podcast for quite a while. You've had a lot of guests. I've listened to a few. The one of the lead singers from the Four Blondes, I think it was. That
Four
one,
Non-Blondes.
Four Non-Blondes. That was actually a pretty good one. The one,
Non-blondes.
Big Pussy from.
Boy, did he hate me, huh?
He hated you. Yeah, he really did hate you. He
Yeah,
was
he
talking
hated
shit.
me.
What happened?
And I was like, oh man. Like,
Well, I'll tell you
know.
this. I actually thought it was shtick the whole time. Like, I thought he was just busting balls, right? And maybe he still is. I don't know. And if he was, great. I'm all for it.
Great actor.
Yeah.
Right. But what happens usually is I don't like Zoom. I'm sure we're all used to, it's never going to be as fluid as when someone's in the studio, right? But at the end of every Zoom interview, when we stop recording, I give my same shtick, which is, hey, thank you so much for coming. That was fun. We'll send you the links, whatever the fuck, right? And as soon as we hit stop, I go, hey, and he was gone. So that was like, so then I was like, wait a minute. Maybe he really did fucking hate me.
Nah,
where I thought he was joking the whole time.
I don't think he did. I actually did, but like I did give the hint because you were kind of like, "Hey, do you hate me?" Like more through the whole show, and I was like, "Nah, actually, no." Because this guy seems like he just busts balls. That like
I would agree with you, except for what happened at the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he
No,
didn't
yeah.
even say
Bullshit.
goodbye. Yeah, and I was like, ooh, and then so the other, I don't know if you follow The Sopranos much, but they have a podcast called Talking Sopranos, and it's Michael Imperioli, Steve Sherpa. They record at Gas Digital, so I see them pretty regularly.
Okay, cool.
So literally the next day, I walked in, I'm like, Mike, fucking Vinny fucking hated me, and he goes, he fucking hates everybody. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like I said, to me, the worst one was a Sebastian Bach, where he was just like, dude, it's not even fucking funny,
Oh,
bro. And
that
I
was
love
great.
that Bob Halford was like the next week, he's like, dude, that's fucking hilarious. What
Yeah,
the
it
fuck?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really. But I said to our producer is Shannon, and I said to Shannon off air before we started, I said, this podcast will not make an hour. I know Sebastian well enough from my old radio show. Something's gonna happen. I didn't think it was gonna be 9 minutes, but I didn't think it would make an hour.
He made a gay joke about Rob Halford, and he's like, that's my fucking buddy, dude. Don't fuck with him. Fuck that.
And he cut the camera 9 minutes in.
Yeah, but that was the best
Whoa.
part. The best part was like he showed his age and he couldn't fucking disconnect. They're like,
couldn't
hey,
You see him doing this, like trying to figure it out on the screen.
so the whole
but
time
then
they're,
think-
like, apologizing. He's just
It was great. And then also, by the way, he cut his camera, but he couldn't figure out how to disconnect. So he was still on the Zoom, and we're like, you there? And he goes, I hear you, man. But he didn't know how, he didn't want to talk to us. Right?
Fuck off.
Man, I told you, fuck off. Man, why is he
Yeah.
still talking to me?
But the best part was because of my old radio show, I actually knew Rob Halford. So not like that we're best buds, but I knew him well enough. And we got him on the next week. and we told him the joke that Jay said that pissed him off so much, and he thought it was hilarious. And now we're working on a fucking roast for Rob Halford.
Nice. That's real sweet.
Nice.
Hell yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
Who's your favorite guest? Your favorite, famous guest?
So we're going by SDR, not in the history of my
Like the
career,
tour bus or anything.
just for SDR, different people for different reasons, So like loving Mark Cuban, to sit down for an hour and do a one-on-one interview with Mark Cuban was fascinating to me. Same thing with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I fucking love him for 10 years. To sit around with him was amazing. But then, of course, rock legends, the fact that Ace Frehley came in studio, Gene Simmons came in the studio, I mean, at this point, it's amazing what we've accomplished in terms of the guests that we've gotten. We just had Ray Romano on. We had so many great guests over the past
Ray Romano
couple of years. It was amazing, but
it's true.
What sticks out for me more are our crazy fucking stupid stunt shows that we do. The things that I know, like I feel that we don't get the credit we deserve for doing things that nobody does on a fucking podcast. So we've done it. I've done cocaine on a show.
Yeah.
Murph.
You gotta say,
our boy Murph.
not the credit you deserve yet.
Yeah, our boy Murph would totally have been volunteered for fucking get squirted on by porn stars. He'd be like, yeah, fuck, I'll help him out. Like Murph would have
Especially if they had STD. He's like, give it to me.
On Wednesday night, we're remaking 3 of our staff as we have one of the winners of RuPaul's Drag Race, and they're making 3 of my male staff over as drag queens, and they have to have a contest to see who pulls it off the best.
Dope. I bet he beat me and you, bro.
That's the fun stuff, and that's why when, like I said, I know you're a huge Howard Stern fan. When people ask me what the inspiration to do a podcast, I always say like Howard Stern, because I mean Joe Rogan's great. There's a lot of great podcasts out there, but like the originator is Howard Stern. I mean, a lot of people I get in trouble for watching that shit on E. When my mom would come in, because there'd be like a naked chick sitting on him, and he'd be like filling up tits, or he would have that Asian guy from Star Trek, like guys whipping up their dicks, and he would check him out. It was great, dude.
Right.
I mean, it's must see TV. But
Howard TV.
I've given this analogy so often because it shows you how omnipresent Howard was and what an innovator he was. Because like if you said today, I want to be a movie director, people don't respond, oh, like Quentin Tarantino. And if you're going to say, I want to be a chef, they don't say, oh, like Guy Fieri. But if you say, I'm going to bring a girl, like a lesbian on a radio show, they're just going to say, oh, like Howard Stern. Nobody ever doesn't say, there's no other name that comes to mind. Right. And that just shows you how influential he was. Yeah. But that being said, guys think with their dicks first. So he was the first to do it. But if it wasn't him, it was, or at least he was the first to make it popular. It's probably
he was
better
the first to do it out loud, because we all know guys been doing it for years.
Yeah, first to get it popular on the level that it got popular. But,
exactly. He was like almost unapologetic with it, and that kind of pissed people off about him. So he did it in their face, and they're like, "Fuck Howard." Howard was doing shit that people wish they could do, and
everybody would do it anyway if they were given if any red-blooded American horny man was given the keys to a kingdom. They would figure out a way to make that happen. I mean, we are guilty of it. You guys are guilty of it. That's what we do. That's what guys do. So he was great at it.
Yeah, well, we have a white man about to make
Go ahead, Joe. Your nose is in the corner there.
The white man is talking. No, I had read an interview that Howard Stern had done as to like, at the point of this interview, this is like 2002, maybe 2001. And they said, like, you have kids. How can you say and do all the stuff on your radio show when you have kids? And how do you be a good role model and parent to them? And he had said that really when he's on his show, he's just a guy in a box talking his thoughts out. He doesn't see it as he's a radio host. He just sees it as like he's on
the soapbox.
Yeah, like he's like it's almost like it's his diary. No one.
Not only that, I mean, you know how you do it? You don't let your kids fucking listen. That's how you do it. Yeah, it's not that hard.
Exactly.
And also, he's the one I learned from years ago when he said, he would do 8 hours of research for a guest. He would just really, and maybe it's not him, it's his crew that does it, but he wanted to know that, and that always inspired me to say, you really want to know who's coming in, and also, especially when it's a big guest.
Some of us do like 48
How we do so far, Ralph? How we doing the research?
The fact that he called these studios is fucking amazing to me. That
it was just me.
Yeah, I didn't know who I knew because I didn't know. I figured it was going to come up at some point. I have like 4 interviews in the next few days, so I didn't know who it was going to be. But I knew I'd find out eventually. Somebody called the studio, which I think is the fucking coolest thing. It's a brilliant idea. It was a brilliant idea.
Oh, it's silly, dude. I'm like, it's on Google. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'll just call.
Yeah, it's a brilliant. It's a very smart idea.
How they answered too. They're just like, wait, what? And then I told them, like, hold on. They put me on hold. They're like, hey, what's going on? And it was a completely different person.
I said, hey, Ralph, somebody wants to know about your life.
You don't leave me the fuck alone.
Leave me the fuck alone.
I just, because I knew they were busy. They were like, hey, we're doing a podcast right now. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be interviewing Ralph Sutton with my group. And I told them the podcast. They're like, oh, okay. And I'm all, is there any questions you guys want to ask them that you guys are afraid to ask them? They're like, oh, hold on. And then they came back. Like,
let me get Momo.
Yeah.
All right, what is it? What is it, SG?
So we'll start off light. They're all like, hey, ask them what supplements do you use to do your 10 miles run at your age? Because they're like, I know there's some kind of drugs.
Wow, 10 miles.
You know, I don't. It's very well documented that I don't do any drugs because that was part of why once a year on SDR I try a drug because I've never done any drugs.
Nice.
Yeah, so you guys want to come to New York next? We're doing one at some point this year, and we have a bunch of rock stars that are flying in to do drugs with me in that time because. I don't know what it's going to be yet, though. We haven't figured it out. But sometime towards the end of the year,
I'm in.
Yeah.
What drugs have you done so far?
We did 5. So edibles was the first one, and there's a video of me passing out on camera. I did mushrooms where I was drooling everywhere, but that video's gone.
Oh, wow.
The third one was the worst because it was Molly, but I was up for 3 days. It was accidentally crystal meth. It was terrible.
Accidentally. They mislabeled that one. Oh, shit. That was in the juicy fruit wrapper.
Yeah, well, they looked the same. That's why I didn't know that. And then the fourth was Molly, and then right before the pandemic, I did cocaine off of Ryan Keeley's ass, the porn star, because that way I could say the only time I've done coke was off a porn star's ass.
There you go.
Exactly. Wall Street, bro. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Just stupid funny. But to be serious, because Jay makes fun of me for talking about running too much. It took me a year to be able to do it. When I started, I couldn't run more than 30 seconds, and I'd have to walk the rest of the way.
That's normal.
I got so fat after my dad died, and I was miserable. I gained 60 pounds. The catalyst of the pandemic was like I'm going to fucking die. I was 60 pounds overweight. I couldn't breathe. I was tired.
You're looking good, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I go every other day. I do 20 something miles a week, and I work out the trainer 3 days a week.
Real good.
You probably would, dude.
Yeah. Calm down, guys.
Hey, take it easy.
Sorry, I'm
What's
just
the next
saying.
one?
All right.
It's funny because also Jay will shit on me all the time about my running. I'm like, dude, don't fucking run with me then.
Shit on
He
anybody
couldn't go a block.
until he takes those fucking sweat gloves off.
Yeah, take those.
Yeah, he can't
sweat
do
gloves
it. It's
off
like
and lifts weights.
His hands are like a model's hands.
Hey, you guys pick on him because of the gloves. At least
Well, it's been done. It's been done so much, but yeah, of course. But I want to put out. I'm trying to get them to release Legion of Skanks gloves with the logo right in the middle knuckle.
Those will fucking sell.
Those were I'm buying.
Yeah,
them.
for
I'm
sure.
buying. Yeah, I'm buying.
So
What was
stupid.
another one? Like I said, each one of these from different people. They said, what's your infatuation with Thai boys?
What?
That's funny. That's obviously a joke. That's funny. I like it. It's Russian girls, is what it is. That's my obsession is Russian women for sure. I'm known, well documented creep that goes online to hit on girls, and I will do Instagram and Facebook. Don't care because my philosophy is always the worst thing that's going to happen is she's going to say no or she's not going to answer, and then I'm still not fucking her. So what's the fucking difference?
Oh, one of our boys here. What's your number at right now? Murph?
I'm at 111.
There you go. So you're like, yeah, and he's not a creep to us. He's just our buddy.
111 pulls off Instagram.
No,
111 citations and restraining orders.
That makes more sense.
It's worth it.
I'm the skank of the group. I fucked 111 women.
Oh, that's good. My goal when I was a kid was to have sex with 21 women before I turned 21, and I missed it by 2 weeks.
This boy didn't even start till late.
Oh, come on, man. You got to give yourself a break. Come on. You can't count. You really, the first year you're born, you can't count.
Yeah. Well, that was my goal, 21 by 21.
New York,
Thank
dude, people lose their virginity real young.
Yeah, I say 21 by 20, you still made it.
Yeah, for the years at strip clubs and a few years after, I mean, I racked up idiotic numbers just because I was being spoon-fed vagina. It's not really a fair
Hook up with
assessment.
some of the strippers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, the other guys going to strip joint.
Dude, it's part of the perks of the job.
Yeah, for sure. That's why you're there. You think you're there for the fucking dazzling customers?
Oh, I thought you were there for the steak.
So you fucked up. You worked
For the
wrong
$2 steak.
Tits and buffet. I came for the buffet.
Remember steak and titties?
Steak and titties.
You should have been working security at a fucking strip club.
I
not a
want
weed
to.
spot.
I want to.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, it took me, like 5 years after I quit strip clubs to understand how to talk to a woman normally.
Like a normal woman.
Because I didn't have to talk to a woman. It was so weird. Like literally.
Gentlemen, right now.
First one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to do it. Yeah, girls would just come in the booth and start blowing you. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that was, especially back then, we're talking about the 90s, you know, it just would happen.
The good old days.
The good old days, yeah. And it just took me a long time to like, oh, I actually have to try and talk to girls.
So
and
I
be
am
nice
building a
and-
time machine.
You should. Go back to around 93. It was fucking great. Yeah, it was amazing.
Fuck.
Okay, now I got a
Go
question.
for it.
So with the relationship you had with your dad, how you said your dad is very wealthy. Did he ever let hey dad,
He's not going to give you money. Leave him alone.
Did he hey dad, I DJ at a strip club? Was he like, why? Or did he ever give you shit?
I
for
got to
that?
say this. I really give him credit, both my mother and my father, for this, that they never, ever got in the way of what we wanted to do. Like whatever, when I got earrings, my hair used to be down to my ass, right? I looked like a crazy person. But I think because both my brother and I always went to school, never got arrested, other than the FBI thing, but they kind of knew about that, so they didn't get mad at us when the FBI came to us. But so I was always, I didn't do any drugs. I wasn't getting drunk. I was getting decent grades. So they just let us be. And I give them credit for that they never really judged. Especially my dad was a little older. He was pretty open-minded for not freaking out. Like, they actually came to the strip club a couple times with his wife,
Okay.
which is nuts. Like,
Yeah.
they came to just see how I was doing. And when I first started in radio, he would listen every night.
That's a
which is
cool guy,
hilarious.
dude.
Yeah.
So he didn't just take your word on it, like, oh, okay. You're like, he's like, hey, how you doing as a DJ? You're like, good, Pa, good. He's like, no, I'm gonna go down and see how the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, that's
He
fucking
came in
awesome.
with his wife and their best friend and their best friend's wife, and they all came in and hung out for an hour, which is pretty wild. Like, it's
That is
just
wild.
crazy to think that they would do that. Pretty wild.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
If you know Ralph, you're getting hooked up, man. If you're thinking that's my old man over there, let's hook him up. All right.
By the way, I sent like 6 girls over to dance for my dad when he came in.
Damn. Thank you. A tear just runs down his eye.
That's my boy. That's my boy. It was crazy. I mean, look, it was hard to quit that business because, I mean, again, I don't want to. I sound like I'm talking like such an asshole. I'm talking about getting laid all the time and making money. No, who would like that person, right? But I would make about anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a night cash,
Nice.
2-3 nights a week. And I was like 23, I was a kid, and you should never give a 23-year-old that much fucking money. It's stupid, and not really working for it. Yeah, you could do. Yeah, I tried to save a lot of it. But a lot of my other DJ friends were fucking doing tons of drugs and blowing all their money. And then all the strippers, how many strippers do you know that saved enough money after their window of hotness? Zero.
What? I thought she said she went to college with that money.
How
It's
full of
crazy.
She's not a
man.
doctor, you say.
How full of shit is that? I'm stripping to pay my way through college. Is that bullshit?
What I can say is only from my perspective of the 15 years I was a strip club DJ, I never met one. So that's what I can tell. I'm not saying I don't like to speak in absolutes, but from what I saw, never once. Just
So
like
no,
I remember when I was a kid.
No chick ever came at like years later and was like, hey, Ralph, remember I told you about the doctor thing?
The worst one, by the way, it's such a depressing story. The girl quit.
I don't get it. It's great.
She quit to get a financial job, right? She actually quit. Very pretty nice girl. Quit to get a financial job. It's a very depressing story. I'm so sorry. She was in the fucking tower when the fucking building hit and she died in 9/11.
Oh.
Such a fucking
So she didn't
depressing
get
story.
that job.
It's like the ones. That's why I said I still don't know any, because technically she never started. Yeah.
God's like, you're fired.
He's all,
That's horrible.
He's all, your titties were for the world, not for your fucking blouse. And
Yeah, she's showing her titties in heaven now. That's what it's all about.
I told you. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And then all the other ladies like quit their fucking dreams and aspirations of becoming anything
Prayed to
else.
God the night before, and St. Peter's like, I got one way.
Just looks out the window.
I mean, I'm
See that?
I'm sure it happens. I hate talking in absolutes. So I'm sure it happens where girls get out, but I never met one. In fact, a crazy thing was that, God, what's it? I guess it's probably like 5 years ago. I was in Jersey. I happened to be like maybe a couple of miles away from the last strip club I ever worked at, right? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I haven't been inside a strip club in so long. Let me go see if I know anybody there. Maybe the bouncers, somebody. I mean, I've been out of that business now for fucking 15 years, but let me go take a look. And not only did I know the owner, I knew one of the bouncers. 3 of the dancers were still there that were there 15 years prior. And they were all told me the same bullshit, which was, oh my God, I never work here anymore. I just happened to come in tonight. I'm like, yeah, all 3 of you happened to come in tonight when I came in.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I have this weird thing in my head now where like the chick that's in the tower was one of the chicks they gave a dance to. They gave a dance to the 9/11 guys.
Oh, it was the same one too.
And he's just like in the plane.
That would have been great. Full circle. That would have been great.
He's in the plane. Allahu Akbar. Look, hey, is that Madison?
Yeah.
And they high five as they go down.
Before this plane goes down.
Told you I see you again.
Yeah. Last night was amazing.
Told you I was a pilot.
Yeah.
I told you to stay the fuck out of New York City. What are you doing?
He had a I love New York shirt.
Unfortunately, you won't be one of the 72 virgins.
Oh. I know. Right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
How did you know that she was in the tower? Like this, how'd you find out?
I found out from girls that still kept in touch with her that they knew her mother. She dared that day. They knew her, and that's how I found out a few days later. That wasn't like immediate knowledge, but it was like, oh God, remember? I forget her name, but remember what's the name? Yeah, she was in the fucking tower. I was like, oh, that's fucking
I
awesome.
wonder if there's like a thing of strippers who disappeared, and then she was like, yeah, that was my daughter. She disappeared.
Yeah.
Very love it. There's like strippers that disappear every day, right? And she was like, yeah, fuck you. Are you kidding me? Strippers get killed and like pick it up by like.
Well, just like escorts get abducted.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
So I was
it's
just wondering.
low
She's one of
it
those.
doesn't. I'm not saying to do it disrespectfully, but it usually they have less people that are going to be looking for them.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not saying to be a dick either. I'm
That's
just
true.
saying.
That's just a fact.
One of our buddies here is a security guard for actual escort on the side. And shit
Well,
like that.
no, I did it one time and it was bullshit. This guy,
He raped you instead.
No, he was like, "Hey man, you're gonna go pick up my dancer, and she's gonna split the tips with you, and you're gonna get like $100 at the end of the night." I ended up in downtown LA with this girl who I couldn't even see her face because it was so dark, and she had her
Holy
face-
shit! It's like
face-
an X-Files episode.
she had her face in a book. And she just told me, all right, now we just wait here to get a text message to where to go. And I was there from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.
She's like, I'll blow you until the fucking guy arrives.
Well, she fell asleep. And then at 1 a.m., I said, fuck this, I'm going home. So I dropped her off and I told the guy, I'm just going home.
She fell asleep in your car?
Yeah, well, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. What do you think?
That's fucking.
And then just to prove a point, you murdered her.
Yeah.
Yeah. In conclusion, he murdered her.
But I did meet the manager or pimp, whatever you want to call him.
Mhm.
And I was getting ready for a fight because I told him I'm just leaving. And he was like, no, well, I want to talk to you now. So I drop her off at her place and he's there waiting. I'm thinking I'm getting some big, bad, Charlie Murphy looking motherfucker. And instead it was this guy looked like Urkel.
Excuse me.
That's the way it is.
And I just like, no, dude, this is bullshit. I'll see you later. Have a good day. Fuck off. Bye. And I just drove home.
So was it that she was waiting for customers that never checked in, or they just?
I had texted the guy and I said, well, what am I doing now that I'm at this freaking CVS in downtown? And he said, you're going to wait and I'm going to text you an address. And it was private dancers. So like, they would go to their house and they told me, this is what you're going to do is, you're going to park two houses down.
They didn't have any clients.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah.
It was a Tuesday night. You're going to park 2 houses down. And then when she goes in, you go up to the door. She's going to get the pay. And then she's going to give it to you.
Nowadays, we have apps that are like pussyatyourdoor.com,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have even had to fucking sit there all day.
And then she's going to dance and ask for a tip. And if he gives her a tip, you immediately take it and go. And he had made it sound like I was going to do this like 3 or 4 times a night. And I was like, no.
Were you only going to get paid if she got hired, or did you get paid a flat rate?
I was gonna get paid basically in like amount of her tips. But again, the
hell yeah, getting paid in tits, bro.
But again, the guy made it sound like, you know,
cool, bro.
He made it sound like from 9 p.m. to 4 o'clock in the morning, we'd be driving all over LA. So like, you know, like the dance was like $100, and then plus at least like maybe a $20 tip.
A part of me was looking forward to that job for you because I was like waiting to hear all the crazy stories.
I know, I was really looking forward to too.
Instead, man,
but it was fucking stupid.
Bummer.
Big J did that for a while too. Big J was he used to drive dancers around years ago. That was one.
I could see him doing that. We had a buddy Tom who was just like Big J and did the same shit, but he got robbed.
He got robbed on the first night, and then he said to the guy, "He's like, you're gonna pay me, right?" He's like, "No, I'm not gonna pay you. Never did it." He got robbed.
He's like,
not only not paying you, you're gonna give us money in your wallet.
He was an Asian pimp.
Yeah, our buddy Tom was like the kindest giant.
Me no pay.
Yeah, we had a buddy Tom who was like the kind, like he should not be the kind of guy who drives like prostitutes around. He was like, if a bear attacks me, I'll let it eat me. We're like, really, Tom? I go, what if it attacks your brother? He's like, he got frozen. He didn't know what to say. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like he didn't give a fuck about the girls or nothing. He was just there for the job because he thought it was normal. But yeah, like what he's saying, if you ever fucked with the animal in front of him, all of a sudden, like the demon of him came out.
He'll defend anything else with his life but himself.
But people he didn't care for. He was like, whatever.
There you have it. Any other questions, Mr. Ralph? That the staff.
The staff also said, "What do you know about the Epstein Lolita Express?"
Oh, so they're just trying to fuck. Yeah. Wow.
Fuck me at this point.
Well, the way they threw it out, they're all like, yeah, they're on the bus that takes the girls to the
short
flight.
Bus
shows up. They're all shows up at his spot, like right out front of his apartment, and you know that's where
it all ties back to it's well documented. I'm an online dating creep. I think that's their backhand way of saying it.
Like I don't get it. To me, it's
because
like,
I'm 51. That's why. Because I'm 51.
Are you
and I
lying
think
about
that's
it?
what it is. I feel like Jay shits on it too. It's funny is that I was fucking this girl for a while that was like, I don't remember how. Let's just say way too young for me. She was like 21 or something, right? And I remember the joke was happened was I said to her, "Oh my God, your fucking body is amazing," and she went, "Yeah." I'm 21. Like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
And I told Jay, Jay's like, how do you do that? Why would you want to fuck a girl like that? She's not going to know anything. And then literally like 2 weeks later, him and his girlfriend was fucking a 21-year-old. So it's just more like, oh, you don't mean that you're actually mad. You're just mad that it's not you.
Yeah, I think to him, it's more of like his daughter's
Haterade,
his daughter's like 18 now. So in his set, it's like, oh, dude, that's too close.
That's why he started backing out of ideas on the show, I feel, because he knows his daughter might be watching. So like, I had this idea I thought was so fucking funny in the middle of the pandemic when everyone's miserable, right? We're going to have two porn stars come to our houses and jerk us off while we watch the most inappropriate things, 9/11 footage, Holocaust footage, the worst things you think of. Yeah. And then what did you finish on? And that's what we were going to highlight. And it was called Beat Me to the Finish. And I think it's fucking hilarious. And he wouldn't do it.
If you created that, I would literally buy a year subscription on anything you were fucking selling. I mean, it would beat Stern.
I think we should just do it.
I mean, Stern's too Stern's kind of gone like political now, but that would be awesome.
So we can see.
By the way, I got a video of his mother saying, "Come on, Jay, stop that. What are you doing?" And she had no idea why. I just said, "I need you to say this." And I was going to splice it into the footage.
Oh, goodness, dude. That gives us an idea. We should all like wear sweatpants and then like wear
and then take like Blue Chew or some shit.
Take some Blue Chew and then write some like inappropriate shit.
I was so mad he wouldn't do it. What are you going to do?
Our long-term saying has been anything for the sake of comedy. And a lot of people aren't down to do it.
Yeah, and especially now that
he wouldn't do cocaine either. When we did cocaine on the show, he wouldn't do it. You know, he just because now I think because his daughter's older, he doesn't want to do it. But if I didn't do it, I'm sure he would have fucking had a field day with calling me a puss the whole time.
Yeah, cocaine's fun. It's a drinking drug. I mean,
I hated every drug yet. I've not liked any of them. Hated them all.
To me, it's more of a setting and location.
Yeah, that's what every fan says. You're doing it in the worst possible way. You got to be home with people you care about, or be
the whole only because your shroom one. That's a total.
I got them all shroomed out.
That's got to be your environment because I was around people who really are the opposite of me, and so I'm laughing the whole time. And the happier I get, the angrier they get. So I'm laughing, and these people are punching me to get me to stop laughing. I'm on shrooms; they don't know it. So the more they're punching me, they're thinking that they're going to stop me, and I'm laughing harder. So I'm like,
Fucking
look,
great.
stop, you
This
guys.
is immediate family he's talking
Yeah,
about.
I
Actually.
eventually admit to him. I go, look, I'm on shrooms. Leave me the fuck alone.
My mom recently took shrooms. She bought them at a dispensary in San Bernardino. She's like, what's that bottle? Oh, you don't want that bottle. It's like, how much is it? $100. That's shrooms, miss.
Damn,
She's
they
like,
got
give it
ripped,
to
dude.
me.
got
She said, I took 2, nothing happened. I took 20 the next day, and the fish multiplied and the rocks were dancing.
Oh my God.
Doing the other way around.
It's funny how you hear that story all the time. People, they take 1 or 2, nothing happens. I want to take 5,000 the next time. It
Well,
makes
yeah,
no
you're
sense.
supposed to take a certain amount. It's
Exactly.
like the first time I had it,
Eighth, bro.
yeah, pretty much an eighth, which is like in weed form. That's like
Take a
you know,
cap. You be
it'll
good.
last you all day. But yeah, just capping. That's just microdosing. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I kind of feel something. But yeah, the first few times I got all fucked up with this
Yeah,
dude.
good times.
Yeah, it was great, man.
There's this DJ out in LA from Sirius XM. His name's Rude Jude. He's on the Eminem
Oh, I know
channel.
Rude Jude.
And he wants us to do GHB the next time because there's like a science to how tall you are and how much you weigh, and it's supposed to be, if you do it right, it's supposed to be incredible. And then Jay goes, well, isn't that like the date rape drug? I said, yeah, it's been a 6-year plan that I've wanted to fuck you in the ass, and now we
Oh, damn it, you got me.
yeah.
Jay puts tighter rubber bands on his gloves.
Have you heard of
taking these off of me?
Have you heard of DMT?
The DMT Jay did,
Yeah.
but because he's on some sort of other drug for something else, it didn't do anything for him.
Oh, weird.
He
Yeah,
had
no, there are.
and it's a
ways.
documented thing that certain drugs counteract DMT.
Yeah. Oh, I've met people that can eat edibles and nothing happens to them. Like I'll give
Yeah.
them 100 milligrams, whatever. They're just like whatever. But yeah, that has happened with DMT. But to me, DMT is super cool because
Usually a lot of alcohol.
yeah, the experience is more of like you feel it and you're like, oh shit, it's been like an hour long or whatever. It's 10 minutes and
Yeah,
everybody's
10,
just going,
15 minutes. Yeah. But I've heard some people have had long lasting adverse effects from one time doing DMT.
Wow.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a show called ever heard of
called Oops.
ayahuasca?
Oops, I won't do it.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. So DMT is to ayahuasca what THC is to weed. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. I've known people. I remember there was this girl, she was one of the prettiest girls I ever dated. And then she went to Bali and she did a year of went there and she wanted to try ayahuasca. And she only did it once and it fucked her up. And I remember she said it was just sad. I met her like a year or two later. She just looked different. She acted different. And I said, oh my God, what happened? She goes, well, she said, ayahuasca brought me to a place I'd never been before. But unfortunately, I've never found my way back. And it was fucking heartbreaking.
That is.
And she just was never the same.
But I like how you said that. You're like, she was a beautiful girl. Was her life pretty fucked up though?
I didn't know her well enough. I only had sex
Okay.
with her a couple
It's
times.
to
you know
me,
what I'm
like
sure.
ayahuasca.
She's hot.
Oh yeah. You're like,
I'll call her right now and ask.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't that close, but no, like to me, that's that kind of awakening shit, and it helps. Like it's supposed to help.
Oh, it's obviously not meant for everyone. There's a reason Native Americans had their reasons and times and places for people at certain ages who did certain
Right.
things. And I'm definitely not fucking like some native chief, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just saying, I'm sure there's a fucking reason why they had their reasons.
Yeah, but
It's not just
Right.
like us, like, hey, Monday,
but off your own
next
experience.
podcast, we're gonna get
Yeah,
fucked up.
exactly. Like it's not a
They were
drug.
doing that.
It's not a drug that you're gonna want to do every day. Like a coke
Right.
addict could become a coke fiend. Like there's no DMT fiends.
You
who are
watch
like,
it,
"Dude,
wow,
every day I do
mama.
this shit." Like,
Yeah.
But I think anybody that's doing any drug regularly, you're hiding from something. Something's not right. That's how I feel. Like if you got to smoke every day, if you got to do whatever it is every day, there's something in your life that you're not dealing with. That's just how I feel. I'm not saying it's right for anybody, but that's how I feel.
Well,
Trying
if
to
we were
bring
to take
everyone down.
if we were to take a vote, Ralph, we would hope that your next drug that you take on the air is DMT.
Yeah, it's
I don't because I know Jay said it didn't affect him at all, but we're probably not going to do DMT. I think it's going to be either ketamine,
Ooh, that's a good one.
GHB, and then there was a third. I forget what Shannon wants us all to do Molly again, but I've already done Molly.
Like
I
you
know
said,
how it felt.
It,
so-
it was fucked because it had meth in it.
no, but we did it a second time. The second we did it, the next time we did it, we got a drug testing kit.
I was gonna say
And
the
we
pure
did real
test.
pure Molly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got pure Molly the next time.
Yeah,
and
'cause
that
that
of
first
all
thing
of them,
you
I
do-
was like, oh, I get Molly. Molly makes sense to me.
Fun.
I understand why people like it.
But to me, that's like a party drug.
How
But,
about heroin?
Go to the hospital and just tell the nurse, I want heroin, the good stuff.
What are you talking about,
Heroin,
bro?
please.
They got kratom. They could do it whenever they want.
That's true.
Dude, if you've never done kratom, it's pretty much
I have
kind of
no
the same.
Yeah, kratom fucked me up. I tried it once. It was really fucked me up.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's really,
I tried
it's
kratom
like doing
once and
morphine.
I didn't like it. I really didn't.
Yeah, yeah, it's not for everybody. I mean,
Yeah, I tried it at the studio once. I said, "Dude, I'm going home," and I went straight the fuck home. I just
that-
slept the
that's
rest
a
of the day.
that's a like I said, most of those drugs to me, I'm like, because I used to rave and shit, and I dated people that were a part of that rave scene. So I mean,
You
that-
used to
that's that.
rave?
Yeah.
Wow. Way to
Big
fucking
ass
break it
pants.
to us is Ralph Sutton.
Oh, yeah.
So we
You're
can't
a
shit
raver,
all
huh?
over you,
Which is
huh?
another one.
You
That's what tripped me out.
motherfucker.
As much as you are about SDR
Next
and everything,
podcast.
you start
Jesse's
off
a
with
fucking raver.
breakdancing. Like that's hip hop, and then there's SDR.
Breakdancing,
I don't
and
know.
also like I was actually on a dance TV show. Remember when? You guys are too young, but there used to be a show called like Club MTV and all those kind of shows where people would
Yeah, he's
American
Well, we had no
Bandstand and all
parents,
those
so I remember
shows.
those shows, yeah.
There was a show called It's Dance in New York, and I was in a nightclub dancing with a girl, and they came up to me and said, "You want to be on a dance TV show?" And then I was on a dance show for a couple of seasons, or not a couple episodes. Sorry.
No, that's cool.
Sorry, we got a zoo in the background. We
That's
usually record these shows in our man cave and it looks real nice, but unfortunately we're in the kitchen because it's about 120 degrees outside.
And no worries at all.
So, but anything else for him, gentlemen? Would you like to,
Show us that dick.
If I could digitally jerk him off, I
That was
would,
Murph.
but I
That was
can't
Murph,
do that right
man.
now.
That was 113
Ralph-
trying to get 114.
Ralph, we appreciate you, coming on the show, and it's really humble of you to be on the show. I mean, like I said, we've been doing this for 3 years, and we got together and we do this every Friday, just obviously to air out what we had going on during
Things
the
our
week.
wives won't listen to.
Things our wife won't listen to it. We almost call this show "No Ma'am." I mean, it's almost like like a Al Bundy version. But like I said, we do appreciate you coming on. And we would like to if we're ever in New York, maybe contact you and swing by and meet you.
Absolutely, 100%, guys.
So,
I'm a big advocate of. It's funny because you guys are doing what I mean. I would say, I'm going to say 15, 20 times a week. Somebody will email me and ask me how to start a podcast, how to do this, how to get your name out there. And my answer always to everyone first is just fucking start. Just start. And 90% of them don't do that. And then if they do start, they stop after a month because they're not happy with they didn't have 100,000 listeners. So the thing that I say, the most important thing is do it because you love it, and that's all that matters, and everything else will follow. And I can tell you guys fucking love doing it, and that's all that fucking matters.
Yeah, dude, these are our best friends. We've been fucking friends for like 20 years and shit like that since we were kids.
You guys should do the. I'll let you guys steal the beat me to the finish idea. You guys could do that on your show.
We might, dude.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert,
And-
I'll win.
And whoever comes is gonna say Sutton.
I'll bring a doctor with a needle, and this guy will just dick will just drop in a second.
The zoo's open.
Oh shit, the zoo just
Oh, boy.
opened to let the dogs out.
And also, if you're not doing anything this summer, you can come by our film festival and check that out.
Oh, I saw that you guys are doing it online. That's fucking cool. But
Yeah.
you're in Texas? Is that where you are? Where are you?
California.
It's Banning,
Oh,
California.
California, right? California. You told
But
me
it's
that
a
already.
real
Sorry.
festival. It's open to the public as well. It's not just some digital thing. We open it up to the public because people have been like in their homes too long. But we have a real film festival going, so feel free.
That's
to come
awesome.
check it out.
I did travel like 4 times during this whole craziness. 2 for family and 2 for work. But I have not been on a plane in so long now. It would be fucking fun to get out and do something different. I don't know what the world is like. Speaking of which, by the way, a stupid plug while we're wrapping this.
Yeah.
16 years ago, I was on a show called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
I remember that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I did the reunion, and the reunion came out last night on E, and you could watch it now. It was 16 years later.
It's on
Me
Hulu
and the
or something?
guys from Queer Eye, we just did another episode 16 years later.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
That is
I
cool.
watch that shit.
it's kinda
Absolutely. Make sure you guys watch that, and then also check out the Gas Digital Network and Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll on everywhere that podcasts are listened to. And it's like I said, it's a good show, absolutely good
fun.
show. There wasn't a
Great
bad
show.
episode I ran into yet.
Oh,
so.
thank you. And my other show is called Good Sugar. It's a health and wellness show, but it's meant to be a little bit of levity. That's where I wrote that stupid book. I
Oh,
think
you know
when
what? I
brought
was
it.
checking that out. I went to shoot it to you real quick. It's a book called Sugar Blues. I think you'd like it a lot. I grew up.
I'll take a look at that. That's cool. I listen to books when I run, so I'll definitely take a listen to that.
Yeah,
for
it's called
sure.
Sugar Blues, old school shit. I think you'd really be, you'd appreciate it at least.
I definitely will listen to it. I'm always looking for new books, and just follow me everywhere at I am Ralph Sutton. I'm always looking to grow my fucking horrible social media presence.
Hey, there it is. Everyone follow Ralph if you're following the Booze and the Dudes. But once again, we humbly thank you for being on the show and taking the time to do this. So I know it's like 10 o'clock out there, so we appreciate you.
Heck yeah.
Mini me right there.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's it.
That's badass.
All right, Ralph. Thank you, sir.
I said, man,
Be
thanks
good.
again for everything, dude.
I do appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.